What if just 1% of your sexual energy could unlock the door to limitless creativity and power? Imagine the same force that has sparked revolutions, created empires, and driven the world's greatest innovations is already inside you, waiting to be awakened. This is not some far-off idea or elusive secret. It's the energy that can transform your life and the world around you. Sexual energy, often reduced to something superficial, merely about attraction, is in fact the very source of all creation. It is the force behind the greatest works of art, the foundations of civilizations, and the breakthrough ideas that shape the course of history. Yet society has taught us to suppress it, especially women, convincing them that this primal force should remain hidden or, worse, be ashamed of. What if we've been wrong all along? What if this energy, long misunderstood, is the key to unlocking your true potential? Instead of hiding it, what if this energy could be awakened and channeled to fuel your creativity, ambition, and transformation? As we dive into this journey, we'll challenge everything you've been told about power, creativity, and the role of women in society. We'll reveal how this untapped energy has the power to change not just your life, but the world around you. The greatest untapped resource for change is not something outside of you. It's the energy within you, waiting to be unleashed. So stay with me till the end. The historical perspective adds another layer to this idea. Philosophers like Machiavelli understood the connection between power and primal energies. He didn't just view power as an external force, something to be seized through manipulation or violence. He understood that real power came from within, and sexual energy, when properly harnessed, was an untapped source of that power. It was not about dominance or control over others. Rather, it was about mastering oneself, understanding one's desires, and using them as a means of creation and influence. Now consider how society teaches women to view their own sexual energy. Too often, it's seen as something to suppress, control, or even hide, a thing of shame or weakness. In contrast, men are more readily encouraged to embrace their sexuality, to let it fuel their ambitions, to let it give them the drive to build empires and achieve greatness. This disparity is no coincidence. It's a reflection of the way society has historically viewed the sexes and their power dynamics. As we dive deeper into this exploration, we'll see how this ancient primal force, when consciously harnessed, can be the key to personal power and creative mastery. But it begins with the realization that sexual energy is not a mere byproduct of desire. It is, in fact, a fundamental life force that drives not just reproduction, but the creation of our very realities. Throughout history, there have been women who, whether knowingly or unknowingly, tapped into a deeper well of energy, one that transcended physical desire and became a driving force for their creativity, leadership, and innovation. These women didn't just exist within the confines of their circumstances. They used their inner power to shape history, to build legacies, and to change the world. They harnessed their sexual energy, emotional depth, and intellectual brilliance, creating movements and advancements that continue to impact us today. Take, for example, Marie Curie, the scientist whose discoveries in radioactivity earned her 2 Nobel Prizes. Curie didn't just contribute to science, she reshaped it. Behind her scientific rigor was an inner drive, an energy that pushed her to defy expectations in a world that viewed women as incapable of such intellectual achievement. Her energy wasn't just physical, it was mental and emotional, channeled into a singular purpose, unraveling the mysteries of the universe. Her ability to focus on her research, even in the face of personal tragedy and societal prejudice, was driven by something far deeper than intellect alone. It was the harnessing of her inner power, a force that propelled her through years of isolation and hardship, producing breakthroughs that would forever alter the course of science. Cleopatra, too, stands as a monumental figure whose power was as much about intellectual and emotional mastery as it was about her political acumen and personal relationships. Known for her beauty, Cleopatra's influence was not merely based on her physical allure, but on how she used her sexual energy and emotional intelligence to control vast empires. It wasn't just about seduction, it was about understanding the dynamics of power and using her intimate relationships as a tool to advance her political agenda. She wielded her sexuality not as a weakness, but as a strategic asset, navigating a male-dominated world with unmatched savvy and creating an empire that lasted well beyond her reign. Shonda Rhimes, creator of hit shows like Grey's Anatomy and Scandal, is another modern example of a woman who has used her energy, both intellectual and emotional, to build an empire. She didn't just create TV shows, she changed the way women are represented in the media. She used her creative energy to take control of her narrative, breaking through barriers and redefining what it means to be a powerful woman in Hollywood. These women, much like Curie and Cleopatra, demonstrate that creative breakthroughs often come when we tap into an energy greater than ourselves, an energy that is not bound by societal expectations or the confines of tradition. Their stories illustrate how the combination of emotional intelligence, intellectual focus, and the harnessing of sexual energy can lead to innovation and monumental achievements. Psychologically, what these women have in common is their ability to transmute their energy. It's not that they only used their sexual energy in a conventional sense. Instead, they understood that this primal force could be directed toward their creative, professional, and personal growth. This transmutation of energy, from raw, physical desire into action, into art, into power, is the essence of the concept we're exploring. Psychologically, this is tied to emotional intelligence, the ability to understand, manage, and channel one's emotions. A person who can direct their emotional energy consciously is better equipped to use it for productive purposes. Creativity often comes when we allow ourselves to become emotionally invested in something, but also when we have the awareness to direct that energy rather than letting it dissipate. By learning to focus just 1% of sexual energy, individuals can harness emotional momentum to fuel their creative processes, whether that's writing, creating art, or solving complex problems. We live in a world where the true potential of female sexual energy is hidden, distorted, or outright suppressed. Society has built entire structures that teach women to repress their most primal force, encouraging them to see their sexuality not as a source of creative power, but as a tool for consumption, for the pleasure and approval of others. From a young age, women are taught to view their sexual energy as something external to their true selves, something to be shaped, controlled, and even denied. This subtle manipulation is one of the most insidious ways in which the true power of women has been stifled. Take a moment to consider how women's sexuality is framed in modern media. Pop culture, advertising, and social media continuously reduce women to mere physical objects, images to be consumed by the masses. Women are frequently depicted as passive subjects of desire, their worth determined by their appearance and their ability to fulfill external desires. The messages are clear. Your value is tied to how you look, how you perform, how you appeal. In this environment, sexuality becomes transactional, a commodity, rather than the life force it truly is. Think about the endless parade of advertising that bombards us daily. Women's bodies are sold to sell everything, from cars to perfume, to seemingly harmless products like food or household goods. The message is simple. Women exist for the consumption of others, their worth tied to their ability to attract, to please, to be seen. Yet in this very framing, a powerful force is being hidden, the creative, transformative potential of sexual energy. When women are taught that their sexuality is merely a tool for others' gratification, it becomes easy for them to internalize the idea that they are incomplete without external validation. This societal conditioning doesn't just affect how women see themselves, it also shapes how society views them. When a woman's value is defined solely by her appearance or her ability to perform within a system of patriarchal norms, her true power is dismissed. Creativity becomes something separate from her identity. Ambition and intellect are overshadowed by physicality. Women are seen as passive consumers rather than creators of their own lives, their own futures, and their own destinies. Consider the role of social media in perpetuating these ideals. Platforms designed to amplify voices and connect people have, in many ways, become arenas where women's worth is measured in likes, follows, and external approval. Algorithms reward images of beauty, conformity, and submission to societal standards, leaving little room for authentic self-expression or the exploration of one's true power. Women are encouraged to present an image, a polished version of themselves, rather than to express the full complexity of who they are. The more they conform, the more validation they receive. But in this pursuit of validation, they are often left hollow, disconnected from the very energy that could lead them to greatness. This is not only a problem for women, but for humanity as a whole. When half of the population is trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and creative suppression, the entire landscape of human creativity suffers. The suppression of women's sexual energy, their true creative power, means the world is missing out on untold potential. How many ideas, inventions, movements, and breakthroughs have never seen the light of day because women were taught to hold back? How many creators, thinkers, and visionaries have been silenced by a society that refuses to see them as whole, powerful, and capable of shaping the future? What if the key to unlocking extraordinary creativity isn't about maximizing your energy, but about harnessing just a fraction of it? The idea that women can use only 1% of their sexual energy to become master creators is not some abstract philosophical concept. It's a powerful principle rooted in psychological insight and historical wisdom. This 1% isn't about dominating others. It's not about power in the traditional sense, nor is it about using sexual energy to manipulate or control. Instead, it's about personal mastery, an art of transforming raw, primal energy into something greater than yourself. This idea isn't new. It resonates with the principles put forward by Niccolo Machiavelli, the Renaissance thinker known for his sharp analysis of power. Machiavelli understood that true power does not lie in reckless ambition or unchecked desire. Instead, it comes from self-mastery and control over one's own impulses. In his view, the greatest rulers were those who could harness their inner desires, redirect them, and use them as a source of strength. The beauty of this concept is that it doesn't require overwhelming force or relentless effort. Much like an artist carefully applies a single brushstroke to create a masterpiece, it's about precision. Just 1% of your energy, intentionally directed, can be transformative. This is the same principle Machiavelli emphasized in his writings. The power to create, to influence, to lead comes not from the external world, but from within. It's about mastering oneself, understanding how to channel one's desires, and using them to craft something meaningful. Women, historically and culturally, have been denied this understanding, denied the chance to see their sexual energy as something to be wielded, not just reacted to. Society has taught them to suppress, to dim that energy. But now the potential to reclaim it, to use even a tiny fraction of it for personal growth, is within reach. This 1% could be the key to unlocking their highest potential, the gateway to creating their best work, and ultimately reshaping the world around them. To harness the 1% of your sexual energy for creative and personal transformation is an act of empowerment. But with this power comes responsibility. Niccolo Machiavelli, in his exploration of power, argued that those who control the most intense forces, whether political, social, or personal, must also wield them with care, discipline, and an understanding of their effects. Power, in his view, requires a delicate balance. The power to create must also come with the power to control oneself. What does it mean, then, to wield creative power? How does one balance this force with the rest of life's complexities? In the act of mastering your energy, you are not just creating something external, but transforming internally as well. The process is one of self-discovery and reinvention. But as you shape your destiny, it's important to recognize the potential dangers of misusing this energy. The very power that fuels your creativity can, if uncontrolled, lead to burnout, emotional imbalance, and even manipulation. When we begin to harness and direct our energy, it's easy to lose sight of the need for balance. In an age of hustle culture, where productivity and success are prized above all else, it can be tempting to push this newfound power to its extremes. We've seen it countless times. Individuals who rise to the top only to collapse under the weight of their own ambition. Burnout becomes inevitable when we fail to listen to our bodies and minds, when we neglect rest and reflection in the pursuit of relentless creation. Emotional turbulence is another potential pitfall. When you begin to channel this intense creative energy, your emotions will inevitably follow. Emotions are part of the energy we seek to transmute. But if left unchecked, these emotions can create instability. The highs of creative flow can quickly turn into the lows of self-doubt, frustration, and isolation. As you dive into this process, it's essential to maintain emotional awareness, to track your state of mind, and to ensure that you're not consumed by the very energy you're trying to harness. One of the greatest challenges of mastering your energy is the risk of manipulation, not by others, but by yourself. When you hold this kind of power, there's always the temptation to use it for personal gain at the expense of others. This is where self-awareness becomes crucial. Power can corrupt, but only if it's unchecked, if the awareness of its effects is ignored. The key to wielding this power ethically is to remain grounded, to recognize that true mastery is not about control over others, but control over yourself. The duality of this journey, the desire to create, to master, to rise, can be overwhelming. It's the dance between pushing forward and stepping back, between intensity and stillness. Machiavelli understood that true power is not about exerting force. It's about understanding the nature of your own impulses and learning how to direct them without being overwhelmed by them. The process of awakening this energy requires not only action, but introspection, to ensure that your creative power is aligned with your highest values and that you don't lose yourself in the pursuit of it. The message here is clear. Self-empowerment comes with self-awareness and responsibility. Yes, the energy is within you, and yes, it can change everything. But the process of mastery is not one of reckless pursuit. It is a conscious choice to understand your energy, to channel it with intention, and to ensure that your personal growth doesn't come at the expense of your well-being. This journey is about balance, creating from a place of deep knowing and self-respect, without burning yourself out or losing sight of your true self. The journey toward becoming a master creator starts with the realization that the energy you seek, the energy to create, to lead, and to transform, has always been within you. The key is not in searching for something external, but in reclaiming what you already possess. By harnessing just a small fraction of your sexual energy, you unlock the potential to reshape your reality, to manifest your deepest desires, and to leave a lasting impact on the world. This is not just a call to women, but to anyone who feels disconnected from their true power. The energy you've been taught to hide, to suppress, or to misplace can be the very force that propels you toward greatness. When you consciously direct this energy, whether into art, business, or social change, you begin to forge a path that is uniquely yours. You step into your fullest potential. The journey to mastery is not immediate. It is a gradual unfolding of your own energy, a process of awakening and reawakening. With each small shift in focus, you move closer to realizing the depth of your creative power. It's about embracing your full self with all the complexities, contradictions, and potential that lie within. So ask yourself, what would happen if you began to consciously direct just 1% of your energy toward your passions, your dreams, your creative aspirations? What could you create? What could you become if you fully embrace the power that is already inside you? The journey is yours to start, and the power is yours to claim. Subscribe for more content and share this to others.